Hey everyone, welcome to my little third strike session I recorded, I think about 2 weeks ago. I was kind of taking a break from playing Dodonpachi, and every Saturday or so I'll sit down in the morning and play a bunch of Fightcade matches. These days it's kind of hard to find matches on Fightcade, at least as much as there used to be, so kind of have to play Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays if you really want a good level of matches. If you play during the week, you're just going to get the really hardcore players that will just destroy you completely. Usually anyway. So in case you haven't noticed yet, I'm Ken. That's the character I play in this game. I used to play Akuma a lot, but I actually found that I enjoy playing Ken style more. And he's a more forgiving character, so there's that. Remember this first match, the Sean player was a little bit beneath, I think, my skill level, which made it really fun for me, but probably a drag for him. I think overall my approach to this game in general is that I'm pretty good up on the wake-up situations and pretty good at walling out my opponents. Still need to work on my parrying though. I'm also a little bit rusty. This is the first time I played Fightcade in probably 4 or 5 years. I finally got back into it. Also, I'm not like a great commentator, so don't be alarmed by the long moments of silence if I can't think of anything to say. I'm not going to try and script this out or anything, I'm just going to go off the cuff. Oh, that super was way desperation. That was tricky. Great take throw by myself. Take throws in this game are insanely good. Also, by the way, these matches weren't like pre-screened or anything like that. I just sat down and recorded the whole day's worth of sessions, so. And if you're not familiar with Third Strike, you can choose different supers, and if you're a Ken player, pretty much always choose Super 3, it's just clearly the best. That's because you see you get 3 gauges worth of super, and the super itself is really comboable and hard to punish. Ken's just a really solid character overall, one of the best in this game. Another thing that's important that I missed there was trying to tech every knockdown. That's one thing I really enjoy about Third Strike, is if you can tech every knockdown, the wake-up situations aren't as stupid as in stuff like Street Fighter 4.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Overall, I think it's pretty safe to say that, at least in my opinion, Third Strike is clearly the best of the Street Fighter series. I like Alpha 3 a lot too, but Third Strike just has it all. Plus the parrying system, once you fall in love with it, it's hard to play Street Fighter without it. Because it just feels really stiff and kind of boring, honestly. So you didn't tech that, so that's when things get rough. I also love the super jump in this game. I just think how it's really great how there's a lot of universal mechanics, rather than in 4 there's a lot of mechanics, but they're all really character specific. Like super jump, see Viper could super jump, but no one else could. I never get high grades because I don't parry enough.
Now, find a new rival. Welcome to the world of the Street Fighter. Prepare for battle. I'm waiting for
Yang's a pretty fun character to fight against as well. He's kind of like this game's version of Fei Long. See, he has the Rekkas. That's a really cool overhead, the jumping kick. If I played a different character, it would probably be either Yun or Yang. I got hit by that twice now. Oh, I thought I had him. And that's it.
Fighters ready. Engage.
Yeah, a new trick I've learned since playing this is doing an overhead when they're waking up, and then when they block it, doing a kick throw on them. That's a really great setup. One habit I need to get out of is throwing so many EX fireballs. I waste a lot of meter doing that. As you can see though, the connection on this is excellent. I don't even remember being any noticeable lag. I mean, it's there, but it's not noticeable. See, I've included some losses in this too. Like I said, it's just a day's worth of sessions, so it's not just a reel of me beating people non-stop. Overall though, when I play a session with someone, in my head I kind of keep a mental tally of the wins and losses against that player. So he's got 1, I think I have 2. He's playing with a lot more confidence now, you can tell, after that win. Sometimes I can make a player harder, but I also kind of feed on when I feel like my opponent's confident. Because I feel like there's ways to get under their skin and kind of break their confidence. Which I have not done yet, I'll tell you that much. And that's... oh, I can't believe that hit. That was a complete guess. I thought he was going to do a Rekka, and I just supered. And ended up getting him. That forward step kick, that move is excellent. It's one of my favorites of Ken's. When I go back and play other Street Fighters and that move's gone, I feel like I really miss it. Another great move, the axe kick. If someone knows how to parry, it's not that good because they can block the first hit and parry the second, but this guy doesn't know how to parry, so it's an excellent move. That's actually a lot of how Third Strike works, is some moves are just plain busted until you know how to parry, and then they're actually not that good. Like Ken's, you see how I'm abusing the crouching medium? That move is insanely good until you know how to parry, and then it's pretty risky to throw out if your opponent can parry it well. This is one of my favorite stages. I think the rain effect really adds a lot to it. Kind of reminds me of Ghost in the Shell or something. That's a way to beat the Rekkas. Neutral jump over him and just come down with a medium kick. Sometimes you can combo out of it. You can just see watching this game how much style it has, especially compared to 5. I mean, 5 is just ugly and unappealing, and Third Strike just beautiful. I threw him because there's a lot of supers in this game that look stupidly punishable like that, but the second they hit the ground, they recover. Ken's is like that. And so you think you have all this time to punish them, but really you'll get an air juggle or they'll just land and block. So sometimes if I'm not really confident, I'll just throw them into the corner like that and just pressure them in the corner.
Fighters ready. Engage.
The thing is a lot of people when they watch Third Strike, you know, you probably think you're not really playing the game correctly unless you're parrying a bunch of stuff, but that's not the only thing you're doing in this game is just parry. That's not the universal answer. I think a lot of newer players get confused about that. But there should be things you're always parrying, like projectiles if you can. That's another thing. A lot of habit most Street Fighter and 2D players have is to crouch block if they're scared. So it feels weird getting used to it at first, but once you realize that you can just start launching overheads at people, it actually opens up your game a lot, because then crouch block doesn't beat everything you do all day long. But newer players tend not to use overheads as much as they should. So in the Switch port, I've noticed when you get a C, I used to always think, okay, this is a new player by the way, I used to think that the C meant chip, but apparently it means cheap, because there'll be writing on screen that says cheap if you chip someone out. So this is a Ken mirror match. That's actually really common in Third Strike because Ken's a very popular character. I'm one of the types of players though who really enjoys mirror matches. I always have. So I don't mind playing other Kens at all. Okay, so this is confusing me at first because I am not the red Ken anymore, I am the purple Ken. Which explains all of a sudden why it looked like I just adapted a completely wild loose cannon playstyle. But I'm the purple Ken on the left.
Fighters ready. Engage.
I remember this guy. He's kind of like the classic Ken where he is just super aggro and he's thrown out a bunch of unsafe frame traps, but if you just stall him out and know how your fundamentals, you'll just destroy him. And you'll notice while you're watching that there's no obviously overhead display. That's just a glitch with Fightcade. It'll come up in the next round. And it's a glitch with the replay system, not actual Fightcade. When you're playing, I could see all the health bars and everything, but in the replay system, it glitched out for some reason. So I sat and learned how to parry the hurricane kick for Ken for about an hour, and then I realized that's really not necessary. Oh, that was insane. I think it's pretty unusual to get thrown out of a wake-up super, but I guess that was great timing. Put him in the corner, and this is where he really struggles. See those hurricanes? I hadn't learned it at this point, but all you need to do is crouching heavy punch it every time. Right there, his health was so low that his only choice to survive, if he blocked it would have chipped him out, so his only choice was to parry it. I enjoy fighting against Ryu in this game. The only thing I don't like about it is his Denjin, because if the player's good, there's just certain setups where he basically can hit you with it, it's unblockable, and then he can do a huge combo on you for free. Okay, this guy's going crazy. Fun fact, when you get super and you hear that "Let's Go" soundbite, that's actually ripped from the Batman 60s TV show. So that's Adam West saying "Let's go."
Are you ready? Go!
Yeah, another common mistake that newer players make is when they jump in the air, they always do medium or heavy kicks. But in situations where you're both jumping, in the air, light attacks usually end up winning out because they're faster and they hit quicker. Yeah, that super has no invincibility, so that was really foolish of him to do that. Yeah, overhead is a great wake-up option because even if they block it, you can still throw them usually, unless they know it's coming. I think he goes back to Yang for one last match. Oh, Remy. I've always disliked Guile-type characters, so Remy is definitely my least favorite character in this game. Characters that just crouch and throw projectiles at you. Third Strike, they're not that annoying though because you can parry the projectiles, but online projectiles are much more difficult to parry obviously because of the lag. But Remy's not that bad. Those are frame traps. He's trying to wake up with some kind of attack, so I keep beating him with just that little combo.
Are you ready? Go!
I'm not having a lot of luck parrying these. I think, again, it's just my rustiness for not playing for a long time. Usually I'm able to parry them pretty easily. One thing that's kind of tricky for new players to Third Strike is that notice he's jumping and I'm not anti-airing with uppercuts. That's because uppercut anti-airs are actually not that good in this game because a good player can just parry them and punish you, which seems really obnoxious to classic Street Fighter players obviously. But there's lots of different mix-ups you can do and stuff, so you just have to get used to that.
Now, find a new rival. Welcome to the world of Street Fighter.
If you do get in a situation where someone keeps jumping and parrying your anti-air, to get them to stop, you can either just throw them when they land, or if you really want to hit them, you just sit there and mash standing jab, and that's unparryable because even if they parry it, your second punch will come out before their parry recovery ends, so it's unbeatable with parry. But you don't get much damage. It's just to stop them from jumping in on you all the time. If I was good, I would rare parry those reptas, but I haven't quite got the hang of red parries yet. Yeah, he caught me crouching there. That's a great punish, I think, because they expect you to... I probably could have done like a combo, but I wasn't quite ready, so I just threw him because I knew he'd try to block it. Oh, he got onto it that time. This is kind of a grudge match too, because he beat me with his Yang last time. I was trying to do a meaty punch, but his throw beat my meaty. Which shouldn't happen, but if you mistime it, it will happen. Yeah, there's no hurry. In Third Strike, there's not a lot of cheap comeback mechanics, so if you get him that low to where you can chip him out, just be patient and you'll find a way to either hit him with a fireball or just make them block a special or a super and they'll die. There we go, got him with that time. Yeah, I need to use those hurricane kicks to shut down a lot of his more obnoxious overhead options. I remember him typing, you can't see it on the replay, but he typed in chat like, oh geez, and then quit. So this is a different player. This guy is very talented, but he's also a troll. He's one of those. I remember in chat, the first round, this round where he's just sitting here sweeping the air, he typed, be gentle with me or some crap like that. Whenever people do that, I can kind of always tell, okay, you're just a troll who's trying to trick me into playing like an idiot. Like I said though, this guy's really talented too though, so it's one of those annoying players that's obnoxious but they're good. So I remember this being a lot of fun. That sweep is actually hard to punish, unless you really know it's coming. You see, a lot of my wake-up setups don't work on him as well as the other player because this guy's more experienced, he knows what to do. But I'm an adaptable player. I think that's one of my best traits, so I kind of try my best to adapt to his playstyle and get him in the places I feel like he's overextending. Like right there. I knew he was going to try to continue to attack me, so I just reversaled. Not gonna lie, that parry was accidental. So satisfying to land those. Yeah, I knew he was gonna parry, but I did the chain, so I'd have to parry both hits, not just the one. Again, reversals, because this guy overextends with his aggression. And I can remember him, I could tell after I won this round, he was pretty pissed. It's funny, when I play Fightcade, Yang actually comes up a lot more than Yun, even though Yun, who's his twin brother, and is the better character of the two. They're both really good though. You can tell this guy really knows his offensive setups. So I can just imagine him trolling newer players all day long, which is probably what he was planning to do to me. So I got him in chip percent, just need to be patient, but I wasn't. I got supered.
Are you ready? Go!
Didn't tech that, that's not good. My techs were not that great the day I played this. Again, we're doing a lot of reversals on this guy because he's just overextending a lot. Expecting me to just cower. See, he techs the throw and then is able to punish me because I overextend. I'm grabbing a lot, which usually works against like the last player I played who was defensive, but this guy, he's so aggro, it's not a good idea to do that, and then it blues in the round. But it's not over yet, so it's 1-1. Loser, it's kind of like you don't want to be on your stage because that means you lost. So it's always a point of pride to be on the other player's stage. With that said though, I really like the Ken stage. One thing you'll notice about Street Fighter 3 is that there's actually a lot of street fighting going on in this game, where in the first game, very few levels were actually on streets. In Third Strike, there's a ton of street-based levels. That was a mistake. I was trying to hit him with an EX Fireball, and I uppercutted. Oh, that was a missed input. I was trying to do an EX uppercut, but my EX meter was too low, and so the uppercut, I missed the input on it. That's always frustrating. I basically had the round and I lost due to missed input. Yeah, I noticed, I'm starting to catch on that he likes to wake up crouching, so hit him with the overhead on the wake up.
Final round. Go for it.
Yeah, those neutral jumps aren't getting me a lot in this matchup. They're still pretty safe though. See, if they tech the throw, it's pretty hard to follow up with anything. Got him. But again, he only parries the first hit of that. He has to parry at least 2. Maybe all 3, I'm not sure.
Now, find a new rival.
So it's 2-1. Going Ryu. Okay, so usually people when they pick their Ryu against you, it's saying, okay, I'm actually a really good player now, I'm gonna beat you with my Ryu. You noob. Because he's such a basic character in this game. And most people, most good players tend to have a good secondary Ryu. Just beating my ass down in the first round. Still getting adjusted to it. Perfect. That doesn't really bother me too much as other players because in Third Strike you make a few wrong decisions and you can get perfected pretty easily. This guy's really shutting me down in this round. But it's not over yet. The one fault this guy has is he's over aggressive. But he's smart about it, so if you're a newer player, I think it's just plain overwhelming. But I do have experience in this matchup, so there we go. When people sweep, there's something in them that wants to sweep again. So what will happen is usually they'll sweep, you'll block and go to punish and they'll hit you with a second sweep. So what I tend to do is just jump over it and throw him. See, he wants to parry me. Let's come down to the wire now. Great parries, I have to admit. Why is he punching the air like that? Because he's building super. In this game, if you sit there and punch the air, you build super meter. And what he's gonna do is he's gonna build meter and then do his super probably that. I don't know if he had the Denjin or not. Okay, he just hit reset because he wants to change character. Now he's gonna... I can imagine in his mind he's thinking, okay, and I'm gonna beat you with your own character. I'm the gold Ken. That's pretty common. If you play against like good players who are also trolls and you beat them, there's something in them that wants to try and humiliate you by beating you with your own character. Which usually doesn't work out. Sometimes it does, but again, if he beats me with Ken, I'm not too worried. I mean, Ken's a really good character and pretty basic character, so it doesn't take a great amount of study to learn Ken or anything like that. So what's going on there is he pretty much had the round, but he got really cocky and thought he could just troll me and then, I guess, super me, but I killed him before he got there. And I think that threw him off. Yeah, that's an obnoxious thing about Ken is that the uppercut, the short one, is really hard to punish, even if it's a really dumb one like that. Yep, so he's over aggressive. I knew he was going to be, so I reversal. That's it. Ken successfully defended.
Win. Now, find a new rival. Welcome to the world.
So he's gonna run it back. I think in his mind he figured that he would have destroyed me if he was playing seriously, so now he's gonna play seriously and try and beat me. But the problem is I'm starting to catch on to a lot of his playstyle, so it's not going to be as easy as he thinks. Didn't tech though, that's not good. Yeah. Yes, I knew he was going to parry, but if you do the EX fireball, the uppercut, you're going to have to parry all 3 hits, which a lot of people aren't prepared to do. And that would have, pretty sure would have beaten a wake up super too if he woke up and super me. I think that EX uppercut would have stuffed it. That's an obnoxious trick Ken has that I decided to do where if they block, if you hit him with an EX hurricane, usually, look, he's given up. I think this is where he gives up. Yeah, he's completely given up. Look. He just stopped playing. And that's the end of that guy. So I ended up taking it, even though it was looking like he was dominating with me with his Ryu. I came back. So now we end it with kind of a comfortable set for me because this guy's a Ken player that's a little bit beneath my skill level again. So I was having a lot of fun, but I'm sure it was probably pretty frustrating for him to play against me. Because I was always just one little step ahead of him. He's at chip health. He's pretty much screwed. In third strike, it's extremely hard to come back from this position because just the amount of stuff that can chip you out in this game is ridiculous. In 5 they removed that, which I don't like. I think chipping is an important aspect of Street Fighter and should belong in the game. See, this guy likes to do a lot of sweeps, which is kind of a sign that they're a newer player because the sweeps are really risky moves. Now, I could have done a reversal super on him, but sometimes when I play against players that I think are a little less skilled than I am, and I'm having fun, I'll kind of hold back some of that stuff, kind of give them more of a chance.
Now, find a new rival. Welcome to the world of Street Fighter. I got the picture here for the battle. Are you ready? Go.
It's hard to tell what people's personalities are like when you're playing them, but compared to the last guy I played, I feel like this guy, even though he wasn't as skilled, a more fun person to play against generally. He doesn't rage quit or type weird stuff to you in the match or anything like that.
Prepare to strike now.
So another difficulty this guy's having is that I have some bad habits, but he's not really punishing them, so I'm just running loose with him. One thing, one bad habit I have is that I use crouching medium more than I should. I mean, it's definitely better than sweep, but if someone knows how to parry, it's really easy to parry and then counter. Sometimes when I play against a player like this who has a bad habit, sometimes I'll revert to using that. Like, he's sitting there sweeping all the time. So sometimes, for some reason, I'll start sweeping a bunch too, just because I feel like, well, he's doing it, so I could get away with it too. It's something to try and avoid, because it'll carry over to further matches if you do that.
Now, find a new rival. Welcome to the world of street fighting.
I remember this guy was pretty determined. He's sticking to his guns. I respect that a lot.
Are you ready? Go!
The jumping I did right there was pretty interesting. It's happened a while ago, but what I did was I jumped and kicked early. That way, in case he jumped, I'd win. And also, I would recover fast enough to throw him when I landed. So that's a nice trick to know. Is a jump early medium kick, and then you'll have enough time if they're throwing a fireball to land and throw them.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
If you haven't noticed, the colors I tend to play are red, white, and sometimes blue. The time I got the purple is because Fightcade decided that they wanted to give the other player red instead of me. That was not meant to be an uppercut, that was meant to be EX Fireball. That's another good strategy to do, is if you get them in the corner, sometimes you don't have to rush in on them, you just kind of stand back and throw out long range normals like that step kick, and just kind of whittle away at them. This guy's determined to fireball me, as you can see. And that's a better strategy online than in person, because online it's harder to parry fireballs, so you tend to get away with them more than you should. The triple overhead. I knew he'd try and reverse there. That's one, I think that's my hallmark move, is that I like to stuff out reversals with my own reversal, which is pretty unusual. Most Street Fighter players don't do that because it's risky, but when you do it and you land it, you feel really cool. There you go. Nope, trade. Notice I haven't thrown that many supers today, I don't know why. Just wasn't in a super mood, I guess. I normally can parry that. See, he's trying to corner me, but he's being a little too timid about it. Yeah. If someone does a long range sweep, like where they hit you with just the foot, usually you can't punish it with your own sweep, but you can really normally punish it if you just immediately get up and throw them. Get up, dash in, and throw. That's something to watch when you're learning Street Fighter and Third Strike, is how often are you just sitting and crouching in those situations. Usually the more active player ends up getting the win.
Now, find a new rival. Welcome to the world of Street Fighter. Well, I got prepared for battle. Prepare to strike. Now.
That step kick, because I thought he was going to fireball. He's faster than a fireball. Oh, I was trying to be tricky. What's really cool about Ken is he has this fake kick where he'll step forward and lift his leg like he's going to kick, but he doesn't. Then you can mix that up with a throw. I don't think I've done it too many times during this session on Saturday, but I do it sometimes.
Now.
Oh, got me there. I remember this match, I'm just sitting there gonna be thinking, okay, I'm gonna let him throw a bunch of fireballs, I'm just gonna parry them. Just to kind of, just for the hell of it. The thing thing is even though I've caught on to punishing his sweep, you can tell he's kind of built it into his muscle memory. So he's gonna do it whether he wants to or not. That's a hard habit to break, actually. It's kind of the first habit you have to break as a Street Fighter player, is not doing so many sweeps. I think I'm gonna lose the round, yeah. I remember that round, because I remember kind of messing around and then I ended up getting killed.
Final round. Go.
I'm throwing out those heavies because I think he's going to try and sweep me in that beat sweep. You can actually parry stuff in the air. So if I was more on point, I could have parried that fireball coming down. You could tell that was an accidental parry he got because he didn't follow up with anything. Nope, that's okay. Throw and shift. Oh, that's not enough. Look at that. Also, in those situations where they're this low, you can hit them with a super, and unless they're able to parry the entire super, you'll kill them with the chip.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter. Well, I got pairs in the battle. Are you ready? Go.
Throw. Yep. That throw is very hard to tech. I don't even, me and my friend were trying to decide whether it is techable or not. That's another good mix-up I wish I would do more of. Falling EX Hurricane. And EX Uppercut. I missed it. That's supposed to be EX Uppercut, but missed the impact.
Prepare to strike. Now.
That sweep should not have worked. You're just being really careless. Yeah, if you're quick, you can actually get over the uppercut and punish him, but you have to be very quick. I'm trying to throw him and he's just beating me down for it. He was trying to fireball, you could tell. And that's it.